Folks, we are back, and just like I gave you one side of the equation for the Jake Paul Hasim Rahman Jr. fight, I had to give you the other side as well. And we're not talking coaches, we're not talking team members, we're talking the man in the main event, Hasim Rahman Jr. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's up, Wade? Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure. How you doing?
Of course, man. I'm great. I'm better now that you're here, man, because I'm talking to a main eventer, and that's kind of where I want to start. You know, the lineage of your family name, and I know how important this is to you, and this is why I want to start here. That Rahman name is such a legendary name in this boxing scene with your father, now with you, even with Musin and your younger brother as well. Talk to me about what this opportunity means. Madison Square Garden, headline, main event. The Rahman name, it just almost seems like it's a perfect match. To you, what does that mean, man?
It's the perfect platform for me to shut this dude up and really put my foot on the neck of the boxing game and catapult myself to where I want to be. I didn't ask to be fighting Jake Paul. Was not something on my goals list. I want to fight for world titles. So once I display my skill and will on August 6th, hopefully that catapults me into the position to be contender for a title or a fight that'll get me to a title fight.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And this is something that I talked with BJ Flores last week about this, and I know you're very familiar with BJ. We'll talk about that in a second. But I talked to him about what was the mindset in taking Hasim Rahman Jr., the experience you have. Like I said, the lineage of that name, your size, your skill. If we took the names away from this fight, and we had a 12-1 guy with almost 100 or over 100 amateur fights and a 5-0 guy with no amateur fights at all and never fought a boxer, we'd all laugh at this. Why, in your opinion, do you think they chose you when Tommy fell out?
I think that it has a tremendous amount to do with my last fight. Even BJ even tweeted it. Did you see Rahman was up on all the cards when Kenzie Morrison stopped him? So I think that he believes in Jake's conditioning. He believes that that I will fade, and you can't blame him for thinking that because that's what they saw. But on the other hand, how do they look? How would, let me ask you, Wade?
Yeah.
How would Shakur Stevenson look calling out Jamel Charlo to come fight him at 130?
Wouldn't be a great look at all.
I mean, how does that even sound? Because that's exactly what Jake's doing.
Yeah.
He's seen me. I just weighed in for a title fight at 224, even. And he's going to call me out to come down to 200 to fight him. How does that? Shakur would look crazy calling out Jamel Charlo to come down to 130.
Jake is the same guy that's called out Gervonta Davis as well. So
Jacob is a crazy guy, and he wants
you
all
called
this
him,
credit.
You called him Jacob.
Jacob is a crazy guy. That's his name.
Just never heard anybody call him Jacob Paul.
His name is Jacob Paul. That's his name. His mama named him Jacob. I'm gonna call him Jacob.
You know what, man? Listen, I can tell that, you guys, like I said, there's some familiarity there. Obviously, I know you're probably tired of talking about it, this spar that everyone has seemed to put so much weight onto. And I've already explained how, these spars, especially when you're talking about Jake Paul or Jacob Paul, he treats these as fights because he doesn't have the amateur ranks or experience or anything that.
I've been saying that all day. I've been saying that all day. He has no amateur experience. He doesn't know what it's like to go to a tournament or to go to an amateur fight and have to fight. So his experience is these sparring sessions. And he's going into these sparring sessions like these are real fights. He's counting how many rounds he wins, and he's actually like giving it 100% when he doesn't know that the people that are getting his sparring partners, they're asking, hey, don't knock this kid out. Don't switch southpaw on him. That'll be too much. Just give it, 50, 55%. Don't go too hard on this kid, or it's going to be hard to get you paid. In the middle of a pandemic where boxing was shut down, I got off my couch and boxed this man for 5 rounds, easy, with one hand.
Sheesh.
Come on, man.
I know. They're playing with your name, but
where he was the only person. He was one of the only people in boxing with the fight lined up, which was the Tyson Jones card. So he had already been in camp. Mind you, that fight was supposed to happen in September, and it got pushed back to November.
Yep.
We boxed in October. So he was already past where he was supposed to fight. Mind you, boxing gyms weren't even open. Boxing gyms weren't even open for me to even be able to train. I literally had to go buy a treadmill and put it in the middle of my living room for me to be able to even just not blow up to 250 pounds.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you said, it was one of those things where I saw it and I was like, I know what's going to happen here. Like, obviously, Jake, before he was a boxer, he was a content creator. He understands how to cut clips and make things look a certain way. And I didn't necessarily expect that to be the way that went at all.
Now, see, that's why I'm a smart guy. That's why I was upset in the clips that he put.
Yep.
It had absolutely nothing to do with what actually happened in the ring, which other people are putting so much emphasis on. Like, well, he wouldn't have been mad if he wouldn't have been getting. Wasn't that I was getting beat up? It was I knew. He got that right hand off, or he landed these 2 or 3 right hands.
I'm pretty sure, by the way, when he landed that, you even told him, like, good shot.
Of course,
yeah.
Because I'm walking right through it, Jake. I'm walking right through it. I'm still pressing you, and like that I know while it's going on, he's gonna clip this up and just put that. He's not gonna tell people I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, I couldn't do that, and you know to some people that can be embarrassing. So I was just trying to let him know, like, yo, like you really not that, you really not
right.
what you think you are. So, but he didn't like that. He don't like me babying him. I babied him the first time we boxed, and I babied him the second time we boxed. That's if he was a little tougher, I would call him my son, but he ain't tough enough to be my son.
Well, you know what? It's funny because you talk about how you've handled Jake and some of these mind games that are coming from either the content side or he's clipping up the sparring session. But then we get to this press conference, and like I said, there's familiarity there, and now there's seemingly a beef there from that familiarity. I thought you handled yourself very well at this press conference. Talk to me about what it was like being on stage, because I don't think you had seen him in over, 18 months now, right? You hadn't seen him in a long time. Is there a different energy about him now? You think he thinks when he looks at you, I'm going to shock the world, I'm going to put this guy out? Like, what do you think he's thinking in that press conference? And the fact that he couldn't get under your skin, how did that, do you think that changed any of that?
I don't know, man. Jake a little funny. He like to talk about my size. He like to talk about my big old arms.
Yeah, hey, listen, at least he didn't start talking about your cheeks, bro. That was the Tyron Woodley play.
Man, Jake's a little funny. Jake's a little funny. I don't do that funny stuff over here. Look here, Jacob. Look here, Jacob. We ain't here for all that. We here to fight. So,
that's another thing. I was really glad because I've been one of the people that's been screaming it. I come from the MMA community, and I've been screaming at MMA fighters, stop playing his game. Stop taking these bets that mean nothing and make you look so silly. And you didn't. And I was so glad you didn't. So talk to me about, again, what do you think that Jake, you think a lot of these mind games are coming from the sparring session, he wanted more money. This is what he wanted as far as our agreement, the weight cut, like all these things. You think they're just mind games from Jake to try to get that little edge?
It's funny because Jacob, what he does is he'll put something out there, but he'll put out one side. He don't put out his side. So there's so many things on his side that had I asked for these things, oh my goodness, there would be no fight. There would absolutely be no fight. But like I said earlier, you don't see Shakur Stevenson calling out Jamel Charlo. You don't see Jamel Charlo calling out Dimitri Bivol. These guys, there's weight classes for a reason, and for him to present what he presented to us was literally a take it or leave it, and you'll never get the chance to fight Jake Paul again. So it's like he's scared to fight me at a fair fight. He's scared to have a fair fight with me. But I believe I can beat Jake Paul fresh out the strip club. For real. I don't think he's on my level, especially under these circumstances.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden, the Mecca of boxing. This is what I do, man.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And it's something else I wanted to talk about. You know, you said there's a lot of things on Jake's side they don't talk about. I will say this, and I think you would do the same. I will give Jake the respect of trying to keep this event together because, of course, like it's as a co-promoter for sure, it's got to be tough when Tommy fumbles, pulls out again, and he's on 30 days and he's looking for an opponent. And again, credit to you for stepping in because from what I understand, there weren't a lot of guys, and especially with New York State Athletic Commission, even on top of that, there weren't a lot of people he could have chose from. So choosing you, yes, he gains that respect, but also you stepping in and kind of saving this thing is a massive respect to you. But then I saw something today, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Did I hear that you're getting 0% of this pay-per-view?
You're correct, 0%. And then but that's the thing, like I said earlier, like he likes to put stuff out there, but he don't like to say, he don't like to put both sides. He don't like to put both sides. So earlier today, he released a video. He's like, "Oh, I'm carrying if you carrying the pay-per-view, if you didn't want to carry the whole pay-per-view, you didn't want to do all the sales. Why you didn't give me none of the pay-per-view? What I look like helping you sell pay-per-views when you're not giving me no cut, not getting nothing out of it?
Right.
I get zero. I literally signed to get 0% of it. So I don't like to get in all the contract details and stuff, but that was already out there. So
yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Don't come on here and try to chastise me or make me look bad like I'm not trying to sell a fight when you're not giving me nothing.
Right.
I'm not getting shit for doing it. So you want me to use my energy in my time to help you bring in more pay-per-view revenue? No, then you should have gave me whatever you gave everybody else off the pay-per-view they was getting. They sent me a contract way so that I would say no, so that he would be able to say Rockman turned it down. That's what he did, and I didn't. And now he's gonna be 50 feet up Shit's Creek with no paddle.
I love it, man. This is something again, and I think it goes back to what you just said that, you know, when they sent you this contract, maybe they were just like, no, he's not going to accept this. There's no way. And the fact that you did, and then now Jake has to go again with these mind games, like he's on the deathbed with the gown on and playing the whole thing. And then, like you said, it just makes no sense for you to go and waste energy when you're here to fight. And Jake's here to play, you know, a couple of the games and get you off yours. But from that last time you've seen Jake, obviously you know, and you've even said, he's a great worker. He works hard, and he is a tough guy, and he is a fighter. What are you seeing in the improvements, right, from that time to now where you can say, you know what, this is a threat. Okay, I do have to watch out for this. Is there anything, without giving up strategy, anything like that, that you're looking at and saying this could be a concern from him?
I have been training like I'm fighting Deontay Wilder.
Okay.
Jake Paul has a good right hand. If Deontay Wilder touches you with that right hand, it's over. Fight's over.
Teddy Atlas calls it the great eraser for a reason.
Man, great eraser. So I'm going into this fight like if he touches me with that right hand, then that is definitely not the situation we want. So I've been training diligently. I've been training hard. I've been giving my dad, my nutritionist, my strength and conditioning, my track. I've been giving everybody, all my coaches, 100%. I push myself to the limit every day. And I know that Jake Paul is not on my level. And it's just up to me to prove that come August 6th.
You know, your dad said something, speaking of, you know, your dad, legendary Hasim Rahman, two-time world heavyweight champion. He said something in that press conference that I was taken back by. I think a lot of people were. But when you sit and think about it, it's almost a compliment to the situation now and to you that he can be honest. He said, you hadn't lived up to your potential yet, right? And that was something that was going to change this fight. What did that mean to you in that moment? Because you handled it great. You're like, it's nothing he's never told me before. This is that moment now. Does that motivate you just a little more having your dad say something like, this is the one where that potential is going to come out?
Absolutely. I mean, it's now or never. This is it for me. This is my Lennox Lewis fight. And he is not a Lennox Lewis. He is not on the level of Lennox Lewis. At the end of the day, about 2 minutes before I signed the contract, this thought came to my mind. It's the reason why I wound up signing it. I was about to call my dad. But once I made a decision, I was like, yeah, I don't even have to call him. I'm gonna do it. There's absolutely no way you can convince me that had my father been offered to fight Jake Paul with these conditions, he would have turned it down. There's no way. And I'm like, you know what? I can't do it. I couldn't turn it down. This is a bank robbery. I might walk to the ring with a ski mask.
Pull the Scully down over. Said, it's now or never. So we'll wrap up here. I don't want to take too much of your time, but this now or never. You're walking in them there on August 6th. You said, I'm bringing the ski mask. I'm bringing the duffel bag. It's going to be an easy bank robbery. Tell me how you get this done.
I get this done with faith in the law, faith in my team, and faith in boxing. I have so much belief in boxing. I love it. And I believe I'm the better boxer, I'm the better fighter, I'm the better puncher. I have better technique, better overall skills. I don't think that he can match me jab for jab, right hand for right hand, left hand for left hand, hook for hook. I don't even think he knows how to throw all the punches that I know how to throw. And he definitely don't know how to throw them from both sides. Like, I could throw any punch from any position when I'm in the ring.
I was going to say, that's something that I heard Jake say in the presser, too, that he was like, oh, we know he's going to come out southpaw. But I watched a couple of your fights now, and you don't just throw southpaw. Like,
Jake don't know what he don't know what he got himself into, Wade. Yeah. I can show Jake Paul a different fight for all 8 rounds.
Yeah.
For all 8 rounds, I can show him a completely different fight. I've shown different styles. The 8 different styles I've shown in different fights. And I can put them all together and bring them to cause a mass confusion in the ring come August 6th. And Jake Paul is not going to be ready.
There it is, man. I got one more for you, and we'll get you out of here. This has nothing to do with the Jake fight, because this was a couple. Jacob. Sorry, excuse me. There's nothing to do with the Jacob Paul fight. I have a somewhat of a relationship with Vidal Riley, and I had seen that you and him have talked about that fight before. Not that you're looking past Jake, but is that a fight that you would still look at and say, even at cruiserweight, because Vidal is a cruiser, would you look at that fight and say, I still want that fight?
Absolutely. Vidal is he's a decorated amateur as well. He's had amateur experience. He's been to the world championships in the amateurs. And I believe that's a much tougher fight than a Jake Paul fight. Now, that fight, I don't know if I would have took that fight on such short notice. I don't know if I would have took a Vidal fight on such short notice in the same situation, because I have, Vidal's a much better fighter than Jake Paul. So I definitely would love to get it on. And, he's been one of the only fighters to say my name and say that he wants to fight. So I definitely want to get in there and square that business off. But right now I'm 100% focused on Jake Paul. But Vidal, he'll get his turn, and so will some other fighters that are, trying to call my name out now all of a sudden. But if Mackenzie Morrison, this is the thing, Wade. Like I said, Jake likes to put one thing out there and don't show the other side. Jake keeps saying, oh, he even posted on his Instagram, oh, you don't see people at 5-0 fighting nobody 12-1 and da-da-da. And I'm like, but he heard me say that. He heard me in one of my interviews say that when I was 12-0, you don't see people fighting people 19-0 like James Morrison. I took a big risk in fighting that guy. And at 12-0, you don't see people fighting a 19-0 guy, especially at the heavyweight division, where experience is very, very, very much plays to the fight. So Jake's like he's a fraud, a phony. He took something I was saying and then tried to turn it into his own, and it's like it's just phony to me. And August 6th is going to be exposure day for him.
Exposure day for Jacob Paul. There he is. Hasim, last thing from me, man. If there's anything else you want to get out there, obviously, where can the people find you? The real people, not the botted people that Jake and the team put on the Instagram. Not those people, but where can they find you, man?
Man, y'all can find me on Instagram at Hasim Rahman Jr., Twitter _Hasim Rahman Jr. Just support. This fight is for the MMA fans, the boxing fans, the all the culture, everybody on Jake's side that switched over, everybody that has been supporting me from day one, and most importantly, this is for all the Muslims in the world. So definitely we're gonna get it on August 6th. I'm gonna put my best foot forward, and at the end of the day, I'm not taking my foot off his neck. So it's time for Jacob Paul to go to sleep. Somebody get him a pillow.
There it is. Get him a pillow and a blanket. You can also find him headlining Madison Square Garden on August 6th. Hasim Rahman Jr. Appreciate you, my man.
Thank you, Wade. Appreciate you.